Journeys take a really long time. Sometimes we walk down the path and it seems like the journey will never end. The journey keeps going. And the farther we look down the path, sometimes it looks like we're never going to get there. There are stones and rocks in our way, and sometimes we come to a complete halt. What keeps us going on the journey? How do we get to our destination? How do we get where we want to go? What motivates us to get there? And when we think we've gotten to the end of our journey and we discover that we still have more to go, how do we keep going on? What if we decide we don't want to go on? What do we do if we flub up? If we stop again? How do we get motivated? How do we keep going on? Motivation can be a lot like a small fire. Initially, it starts off really bright and burning hard, and we're all motivated, ready to do what we need to do. We're sure that we're going to tackle that big log and it will catch on and it will burn bright. And we'll keep on burning forever and ever and ever. But we slowly get distracted. Maybe our fire starts to be more smoke than it is flames. We start to lose our focus. I don't know about you, but sometimes all I can see is the smoke. Yeah, I can get the motivation going a little bit, but pretty soon sometimes I feel all there is smoke. And I'm left with the embers and nothing more than smoke. Being part of a group, being part of a group effort, is also pretty motivating. We all want to win together. Some of us want to be the first ones to win. Some of us want to be the leaders. Some of us want to be the followers. But in a really good, true group effort, we all end up going in together.
Or you both go in. So what motivates you as a person? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it pushing your friend in the water first? Is it following your friend in the water first? Is it seeing how long the path is? Do you need a really good spark to get you going? Motivation. What has motivated me? Well, there are lots of forms of motivation, I suppose. If you think about it, some of us were good at school, some of us were not so good at school. I was one of those kids who just kind of got through by the seat of my pants. And I think about school. One, I'm a teacher, so motivation is a big deal for me. What motivates kids? How can I get students to do a good job? How can I get them to perform at their very best? What gets to each kid? How can I get inside each kid's brain? So my question is not only for me, but for you too. What motivates you? What gets inside you? What will get you going? Is it the group, wanting to be part of the group, not wanting to be left behind? Is that why Back to Basics is so attractive to all of us? We find support, but yet there's motivation in not wanting to be left behind, wanting to participate in the activity or the exercise challenges, wanting to participate in writing down our food, wanting to participate in how much water we've been drinking? Or is it more of an internal thing? Is it emotionally based? Is it logic or intellectually based? What motivates you? How do I get motivated? Well, for me, motivation comes in lots of different forms. I do get motivated by the group. I like seeing people who are perhaps just a step or two ahead of me. Not necessarily in time, with their surgery, but a step or two ahead of me in their emotional and their journey. Because remember, the journey is not based on how much time you've been at whatever you've been at. We all, like any journey in life, you can have a really smart person who is 25 years old, and you can have a really stupid person who is 50. And who wants to follow the stupid person who's 50, right? So motivation for me comes from finding a person I want to emulate. That I want to, I want to be like Joe, I really like how they've approached their journey. That's one way I look at it. I see a lot of people in our Back to Basics group that I look at and I think, wow, they're doing such a good job. I'm going to incorporate some of what they're doing into my journey. That motivates me. And so I kind of follow them on their journey. Second thing that motivates me is, frankly, fear. I'm scared of getting fat again. I'm really scared of it. Every time I eat sugar, every time I eat something I know is not good for me, I get scared. So I get scared of being fat. So a lot of my motivation is fear-based. I don't want to be that fat person again. I don't want people to say, oh, she had 3/4 of her stomach removed and she's fat again. I knew it would never work out for her. Yeah, who wants to hear that, right? So a lot of my motivation comes from not wanting to be fat again. Don't want to have fat clothes, don't want to be the fat person, don't want to experience that again. It's kind of like putting your hand on a hot stove, You get burned once, not going to get burned again, right? So some of my motivation also comes from how good I feel about myself at where I am right now. And I don't want to lose that good feeling. And a lot of my motivation comes from the positive feedback I get from people. People still don't recognize me. I'm back in my home state, back at my home church, and people are still coming up and not realizing who I am. Today even had many people say, oh my God, I thought that you might have been your own daughter. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine that. In any case, what do I do when I lose motivation? To be perfectly honest, the past 3 or 4 months have been a pretty tough time for me. Motivation has been an ongoing thing, up and down, up and down. A long time ago, I was part of a weight loss group that with Weight Watchers, and we all lost a bunch of weight together. And this was in the 1990s. But a phrase that I keep going back to again and again is fake it until you make it. In other words, keep doing what you know you need to do until you find it again. And find your motivation, that is. And so I keep drinking my drinks, keep exercising my exercise, try to stay away from the sugar, and write down what I eat until I find it again. And I often do. I find that if I fake it long enough, it might take 2 days, it might take 7 days, it might take 2 weeks of faking it. But if I keep doing the things that I need to be doing long enough, I will find that I will find my motivation again. Why is that? Because motivation is a lot like positive feedback. Have you ever noticed that if you keep getting criticized, it's a negative cycle, and it goes around and around like this. And negative keeps getting negative, and the more negative you get, you keep going around negative and negative and negative. It's your negative cycle. But if you do positive, the positive will start off, and it might go, and then stop. But if you keep going positive enough, and you get over that hump, you can create a virtuous cycle in which the positive keeps feeding on the positive. And that's what I'm talking about, faking it until you make it. If you have enough positive so that all you can think about are the positive things that are happening in your life, the positive things that are outweighing all the negative that is happening, creating a virtuous cycle. You're getting compliments. You're doing everything right. You're doing your water right. You're doing your food right. You're tracking well. You're exercising. And you're creating positive wherever you go. And even the scale might show positive. You're creating that virtuous cycle, even mentally, so much so that you want to continue doing whatever you're doing. That creates its own motivation, so that when you lose it, you can always create it back. Even when you have a spark that has gone out, even when it has been based only on bad little pine needles, you can find that spark again. I know that that's what I do. I fake it until I make it. I create the virtuous cycle for myself. Why? I know that that cycle works for me. I know it works to make me lose weight. So I just keep doing it. Because I know eventually, even though I may not believe it up here, and my heart doesn't feel it, and there's nothing more in the world that I really want to do. I want to stuff my face full of chocolate and go to bed, right? But I know in reality, the motivation always comes if I keep doing what I know needs to be done. That's my motivation, okay? I can talk about fear of gaining weight. I can talk about compliments. But truly, motivation comes from inside. And if you have none of it, fake it until you make it. I'll talk to you later. See you next week. Bye.